Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Small Attainable Goals. I'm Sean, and today I'm going to have the second half of my interview with Rebecca Faith Quinn. Check out all of her stuff in the description below.
What's really funny is no one explained to me autism when I got diagnosed, but my best friend in the whole world, who's like the most autistic, non-autistic person I've ever met, she can understand social cues and she catches them. She just blatantly ignores them because she hates people.
Yeah, that's how my sister is.
Um, but when she found out I was autistic, she actually bought a bunch of books on autism. And even she didn't explain it to me, but she literally would just show me the book and she'd be like, "This is you. I've highlighted every single section that is relevant to you." And it was basically the whole book was highlighted.
That's good. It's good to have a best friend that knows what they're doing, especially when you don't.
Right? She's very much the person, she'll tell me when I've missed a social cue, but she's not a dick about it. And she
Yeah.
usually waits until everyone's gone and she's like, "By the way, you missed a social cue there and you kind of insulted somebody, so don't be surprised if they don't like you."
Yeah. That happens to me all the time too. And I can understand social cues most of the time. I don't really care some of the times, but then if anything happens where if I take anything for my anxiety and I get a little tipsy, then it's just gone.
It's times I miss social cues, honestly, or when I like somebody. If I
Mhm.
like somebody, and that's why I don't date very well, because I think
Me
that
neither.
I I can't tell when people like me back. I cannot tell. And
I
so
can't either. I just wish that they would just tell you, hey,
right?
I'm kind of into you. She's like, okay. I asked a girl that once. I was like, I can't tell if you're into me or not, and she's like, I'm into you, and I was like, okay. And then we never talked again. So I think she was just lying. So I was
I've
like,
just had a
okay.
lot of moments with guys where I tell them that I'm into them because I think that they're into me. Because people will tell me "Oh, if they laugh at your jokes, that means that they're into you." And I'm like, now I'm like, that's not true. And so
I'm
I've
just funny.
embarrassed myself a lot, especially when I'm drunk. So I don't drink, I
Yeah.
don't go to parties, I don't tell people I like them anymore. That's just the way I handle it. Well, I mean, I
Yeah. I don't.
drink. I drink, but I don't go to parties.
Yeah. You just drink alone in your room. That's totally healthy. Um,
No, I'm never okay, listen.
I saw you do shots on one video. I'm just saying, and
That was
I don't think that.
water. That was
Oh,
that's
that was acting. That was acting.
yes, that was acting.
Oh my god, that just ruined the whole thing. Just
But
ruined the mystique of it.
okay, but actually you want to know something funny? That was the second take, the second doing of that, because the first time I tried to do that video and record it, I actually did take actual shots of tequila and I paused 30 minutes halfway through. I was fucking trash. I threw up so bad. And then the next morning I was like, all right, it'll be worth it. I can start editing the video. My audio fucked up and didn't record. So
That's always the
nothing I
worst.
used was usable.
That's always the worst.
So
And you just feel like such an idiot.
I just watched the video back and I was mimicking my own level of drunkenness.
It's like, okay, I started to get fucked up here.
And
So
it was I probably will not do that again. I don't know, I might. I do stupid things.
probably for the best. It's totally
I
normal.
I used to have a podcast with my friend where we would watch bad movies and I would get drunk before we watched them and he would get high and we would get fucking trashed watching them. We watched Cats as our first one and I had an entire bottle of rosé to myself.
Jesus.
I
Why
remember
would
the
you do that
first
to yourself?
because I was watching Cats.
I know. I'm just saying, why would you do that to yourself and watch Cats? You
Well,
shouldn't
I
watch
drank
that.
the bottle of rosé. I only remember the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Was it the butthole cut or just the
It was
regular one?
not. I didn't know the butthole cut actually happened.
It's definitely real. I've heard. I mean, I don't think it's actually
Released
out there, but I heard that it's definitely real. Can you imagine being that guy? You got your first big movie deal where you're doing the visual effects and they're just like, all right, we just want you to make assholes on these cats. You're just like,
Right?
that must be so disheartening. I mean, I guess if you get paid, it's still pretty good.
I would take any amount of money to make buttholes.
Yep, that's how a lot of OnlyFans start, I think. Um, but when you miss social cues, do you like get like? I feel like some people would interpret that as like you just don't know what's going on. So, do you ever like get like, not to sound like too much of a hippie, but like vibes off of people?
Yes,
Like you can
I
tell when
do.
like someone's creepy, right?
It's okay, sometimes and sometimes no.
Mm-hmm.
Um I do get vibes off of people, like just my first instincts, and it's based off of patterns, because like I
Yeah,
basically catalog every type of personality I've ever encountered. um Kind of like a Carl Jungian thing, but I don't actually believe in Jungian science. It's like, it
I have
has
no idea who
the
that is.
Carl Jung, he was uh, uh the originator of what the Myers-Briggs test is based off of.
Oh,
um
yeah,
and so like I personally don't believe that that's real science. However, like I have had success with similar pattern recognition. But I'm always open to be wrong. Like sometimes my first
yeah.
vibe is not correct. But
I'm always
other
hoping
times
to be
it is.
wrong.
Same.
Yeah, I'm always
Other
hoping to be
times
wrong, but like, yeah, I'm usually not, which
that's
sucks.
yeah, because like there was this girl that I met in college when I went back to college after a 5-year break. There was just something in my gut when I met her. She seemed like a nice enough person, but in my gut when I met her, I just thought, she's a bitch. Don't be friends with her. You're gonna want to be friends with her. Don't do it.
Yeah,
And I did not listen to that gut because she was like really nice. And I was like, you know what? This is one of those times where I'm wrong. And we became really close friends. I invited her to live with me and my parents while I continued college, because she was a couple of semesters ahead of me. So she graduated way before I did. And she had sex with my boyfriend behind my
oh,
back. Same boyfriend
well,
as before.
well, I mean, that's kind of good because that just showed you like, you killed two pieces of shit with one bird or
Pretty
something.
much. They're still
Yeah.
together. It's been 4 years.
Oh,
It's just, but that's one of the times where like my gut was correct. I think my gut is honestly very rarely wrong, but like
yeah.
the way I describe it when it comes to like getting vibes and missing social cues, um it's like it's like, do you ever play The Sims?
Yeah.
It's like I
Sometimes.
can see that negative friendship reaction
Hmm.
that happens, but I
Yeah.
don't know why it happened. That's the thing. That's what it feels like when I miss a social cue and I fuck things
Yeah.
up. It's that I know I have done something wrong, but I don't know what.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the show Lie to Me?
No.
It's about like micro expressions, and that was like kind of, I think that that's really what it is, like when people get like vibes. And there's like a lot of like science behind it too, apparently. But I just really like the show because it had Tim Roth in it, and I like him.
I do
Um,
like Tim Roth.
he's
Yeah, a
pretty
former
great.
friend of mine used to tell me about micro expressions because I sent her pictures of people that I hated, and I was just like, I hate that they're happy, and she would tell me, she'd be like, they're not happy.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what do you mean they're smiling? Smiling is happy. Stop
Yeah.
changing the definition of things. But she would explain to me, she's like, no. You see, they're making a micro expression with their eyes, not their eyes are not matching their face. And I'm just like, they look like eyes.
Yeah. That's why you're supposed to cover up the mouth, and then you go,
Hmm.
"Oh, that person's sad." You're like,
Even
"Oh,
so, I cannot tell. I cannot tell
really?
facial expressions by eyes at all.
That's that sucks."
It does.
I always got like sometimes I got a really bad vibe off of Kevin Spacey. Never met him, and then when I found out
Yeah.
he was a piece of shit, I was like, "Huh, I
I
was right."
also got bad vibes off of him.
Yeah, him, Louis C.K. I don't know why he always annoyed
Never
me.
liked Louis C.K. I was never a fan of his comedy. And my ex-boyfriend, same boyfriend, fucking loved him. And I like, and then all of that shit happened, and he was like, "Oh, I want to go see Louis C.K. when he starts doing comedy again." And I was like, "Why?"
You know who got me? Dave Chappelle. I was like, "Oh my god, Dave! I
That
used to love your stuff." and then
Same.
and Kanye West, early Kanye West, his first album, and then he turned into a Nazi, and I was like, what the hell? I also feel bad for him though, because like he definitely has like no one cares about him. Like he has no support system, I don't think. But
I
yeah,
think
that's
that
not really.
his mental health has driven away his support system, and
Yeah, that's it.
that's very tragic for him, and I am sorry.
Yeah, but the whole Nazi stuff, not a fan.
Me either.
Well, yeah, you especially. I would hope not. I've never met a Jewish Nazi though. That would be
They're
some
rare, but they
real
happen.
next level. Yeah, some next level self hatred.
They're rare, but they happen.
Yeah, that must suck. All right, so what do we have here that is semi, hopefully positive? What made you want to start becoming an advocate?
Which kind of advocate? Because it depends. Like one just kind of like fell into my lap. The other I made an active choice for.
Well, which one did you make the active choice for?
Being a counselor advocate for survivors of sexual assault.
That's
That was
actually really cool, and I mean, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but
it's fine.
like, okay, yeah, it's really
I
that's fucking awesome. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I unfortunately had a really terrible 2021 where in less than 6 months I was sexually assaulted twice by
Jesus,
two different individuals.
I'm
It
sorry.
is. I've made my peace with it. Sometimes it comes up, but right now I'm okay. And one of my former friends helped me through that because she was an advocate, and I was trying to figure out how to start my healing journey, and I decided that I wanted to help other people who were going through the same thing I was.
That's good. I mean, you turned a horrible thing, and I mean, look how many people you help now. I mean, you have what collectively like 1 million followers, maybe, or at
Half a
least like
million.
200,000. Yeah,
Half
that's
a
fucking
million
insane.
collectively.
And then I mean, if you play devil's advocate and you say like, oh yeah, 25% don't like you, they're just like hate following you. That's still like 300,000 people that you're fucking helping every day. That's awesome.
I try. I do get a lot of hate followers, or not a lot of hate followers. I get a lot of hate comments, and like
Yeah.
the last thing that I got like went through cancel culture over was fucking wanting to go to Disney World.
Yeah.
I was saving my own money to go to Disney World, and everyone got mad at me.
Were they mad at you because they were like, Disney doesn't play their employees, or were they just mad at you because they were like,
No.
it's always something weird.
People thought that I was asking for money, and I said I'm literally
Oh.
saving my own money. Like I literally was just
Oh, I
giving it
remember that.
away.
Yeah, that's when yeah,
And
that
on top
sucks.
of that, other people, like one person commented, they were like, "Well, I just think it's in really poor taste for you to go to Disney World because I can't afford rent."
You're
And I
just
was
like,
like,
well, if you need help with rent, maybe you should
"Yeah."
ask for money. I mean, so like my dad passed away like 5 years ago,
Oh, I'm so
and
sorry.
thank you. And like, we were basically like dirt poor when that happened. And I never realized how like I don't know how to say this. How much I could beg for money and not feel bad when I was in that situation. And I mean, I was just literally asking anyone. I was like tweeting fucking like Elon Musk, and I was like, "Hey, Elon, my dad died. You want to give me some money and help me out?" And then of course he's a piece of shit, so he didn't help. But I mean, if he did, I would have been like, "Oh, thank you." Maybe make Twitter better. But I guess it's X. It's X now. But
He can call it X. I'm never gonna call him X. I'm never gonna call it X. Like I'm like that Step Brothers meme. I'm not gonna call it X, even if there's a fire.
I'm not gonna call him dad, even if there's a fucking fire. I love it. I quote that movie way too much. I will
quote
scream
a
upstairs
lot of
all the
little girl
time.
movies too much.
Yeah, he is pretty great. But I always quote the one where he's like, "You geriatric fuck," and he's like yelling at the dad from like down the stairs. I do that to my sister all the time. I was like, "Fucking hurry up, you geriatric fuck," and she's like, "I'm younger than you." And I'm just like, "I don't care. It's fine."
Sometimes my sisters just text each other and they're like, "Did you touch my drum set?" What? Did you touch my drum set?
I quote the. I was watching Cops. Whenever I see anyone sweaty or anything, I'm like, "What were you doing watching Cops?" And they're like, "No, what? That show's not even on anymore." I'm like, "Oh, okay. You don't get it. All right, we can't be friends. Sorry." What were we talking? Jesus Christ! I am so sorry. I'm not usually this scatterbrained.
It's okay.
So that's your day job when you help with the advocacy for that, and that's awesome. And you were just helping so many people. Has that changed? You started doing it during the pandemic, so I would assume that it probably didn't start out as like a lot of in-office work. I'm sure that it was probably online.
It started during 2021 or no, 2022 actually is when I officially started that job in January of 2022. So I've been working there about a year and a half now. It's not a typical in-office job because we specifically, our advocacy group is a nonprofit that was started to address sexual assault concerns on the campus of the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, where I am an alumni. So we specifically handle members of the AMDA community because there was a large number of people who had been sexually assaulted and they had not received the justice that they deserved. So we were started to address that situation and work with the school to make it better, which we have worked with the school and they've made so many improvements to
good.
help the lives of survivors.
That's good. I always love it when they actually do something about it.
Yeah,
it's one thing when they just say it.
Yeah, they've actually really, really tried. So
that's good. So you guys are kicking ass. That's pretty cool.
We absolutely are. We're kicking as much ass as we can.
So you were talking before about how you get a lot of, like hate comments. How do you deal with that from just not completely like burn yourself out?
Depends on where my mental health is. Like some weeks I just respond to them and I'm just like, and I'll be sassy. Like I'll give the same fucking energy that they give me. I don't give a shit. Yeah. And then other days I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, it hurts. Yeah. And it kind of feels defeating. So I just actively try to do as much self-care as I can, and I have the cry time like in Shrinking, where I set 15 minutes and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cry about these hate comments for the next 15 minutes, and then I got other shit to do.
Yeah, that's good. And I mean, you're only giving some shitty person 15 minutes, whereas they probably have given you at least a couple hours of just them fuming online. I don't get it, but
I got called a crybaby once by somebody because it was over the Disney World thing. Like they said that I fell off hard because of the Disney World thing, and I made one video that was talking about something else, and they were like, "You're such a fucking crybaby. Wah, 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 that's you." And I was just like, "Why are you so mad at me going to Disney World?"
I don't know. I mean, I think just a lot of like men are generally mad at like attractive women online. So
that for sure.
Yeah.
I got into a Threads fight. I got my first Threads hate comment.
I still don't know how that works.
It's basically Twitter. It's basically Twitter. It's Twitter. But it's cool Twitter because Twitter now sucks. But I got somebody on Threads because I made a joke and I was talking about the toxic way that my brain handles like dating and romance. And I said, there's an acceptable level that you can like me. You cannot like me more or less than I like you. If you like me more than I like you, you're weird. If you like me less than I like you, I'm probably going to date you for 6 months and then cry about it anyways. And somebody responded to that and they're like, literally nobody likes you.
And you're just like,
And
well, then why are you alone and I have a date tonight?
I literally responded. I was like, let me go cry to the 3 people who asked me out this week. And they said, I don't believe you. And I was like, and I give a fuck. You're some rando on Threads. Like, why do I give a fuck what you think?
And then he was probably like, she totally cares. And then he got up out of his basement bathroom and
No, he said that sounds like something like a liar would say. And I was just like, okay, you're just looking for attention and I'm not feeding into you anymore. Sometimes I like to feed the trolls because, we have to have something to eat for winter. Other times I'm just like, fuck it. Let him starve.
Yeah. That's a good attitude. I would just let him starve most of the time. But it is fun to really mess with people who are.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do. I like messing with people in public when they're, like Karens and stuff. One of my favorite things to do is I like to. I know this is gonna sound horrible, but I like to gaslight certain people when it's just men who like think that they're tall and they constantly talk about being tall and they're like, yeah, man, I'm almost 6 foot. How tall are you? And I'm like 6'4" on like a good day, and like, but like I lie and I say that I'm 6 foot, like just flat. And I was like, no, man, I'm 6 foot even. And they're like, no, you're not. Like you're like 4 inches taller than me. I was like, yeah, man, you're not 6 foot. I don't know, because I am. And they're like,
I've seen somebody do that and they have their driver's license was labeled incorrectly with their height. So it said that they were 6 foot and they were 6'4", and they would pull out their driver's license to show these people just to gaslight them.
I have to update my driver's license this year. I should totally do that.
It was really fucking funny.
Well, it's funny because like they're like in their mind, they're like, why would he lie about being shorter than he is? Because like in their mind, that's not possible. Like, why would you do that? And it's just really fun to mess with them.
One of the things I like to do when I'm on dates is I like to count how many times they ask me about myself or anything having to do with me versus how many times they talk about themselves. I've never gotten over 5.
Really? And
yeah,
talking about you is good, right?
like
That's the
they just
positive. They
like
talk about
them
themselves a lot.
yeah.
I am so bad at talking about myself. It's like horrible. And then like, and every once in a while I'll like start talking, and because like I work with dogs, and I'll start talking and I'll be like, yeah, and I'll have to like ask, I'll be like, am I talking about dogs too much? And they'll just be like, no, it's fine. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
I don't think there's too much to talk about dogs. Like I don't think too much talking about dogs is a thing.
I would hope not, but like every once in a while they get weirded out. And you're just like, well, I work with them all the time, and they're like, okay, whatever. Dating sucks.
Dating does suck.
Just want to put that out there. And then like it really sucks when I don't know how your parents are, but like my parents were like soulmates essentially. So like seeing that growing up, I was like, oh wow, that's gonna be so easy. And then like you start dating, you're like, what the fuck? And then like my dad like messed me up, but like not in like a bad way. He was just like, yeah, no, I knew that you're it was the one thing that I knew about your mom was when we first met, it was easy to talk to her. And I was like, okay. So then every single person I've ever met, I'm like, is this person easy to talk to? And I'm like, no, they're not.
See, I had the parents who I thought were soulmates because they kept telling us that they were soulmates, and
the over indulging ones.
Yeah, they're happily divorced now.
Yeah, doth protest too much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good for them if they're happy and if they at least treated you right. That's good. We don't have to get into that though.
It's fine.
Do you think that in the autistic community, mental health problems are like overlooked?
Yes.
Because they're just kind of written off as, oh, that's just autism.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that the two can coincide. A lot of people will just say, oh, I was diagnosed with BPD, but that was just a complete misdiagnosis. It was actually autism. And while that does happen a lot, it is also very possible to be comorbid with these things. And it's really important that we don't discount all mental health as just autism. even though like there is a certain level of sometimes it's like I see girls who are diagnosed with like anxiety with OCD tendencies on top of like it's like anxiety, OCD tendencies with ADHD and like some other like 12 different diagnoses.
Yeah.
All to describe autistic traits. And like that does
Mhm.
happen, but other times it's like, hey, you can be comorbid with both.
Yeah, they probably do the large ones because, you know, an autistic diagnosis has a negative stereotype usually, and that sucks. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And I also think that there is a lot of ableism within the autistic community towards certain mental health disorders, especially cluster B personality disorders, with an emphasis on the ableism towards people with narcissistic personality disorder. I feel like every other day I'm seeing some autistic person say, "Oh, you know, autistic people are more likely to be abused by narcissists and more likely to be targets of narcissists." And stating that automatically, that's ableist.
Mhm.
Because it implies and like I don't like terms. I also see this used a lot in the autistic community, especially in those spaces, like narcissistic abuse. I do not like the term narcissistic abuse. That implies, whether you mean it to or not, that narcissistic people are inherently abusive. It attaches abuse to the narcissism, and that's not fair, given that cluster B personality disorders, many of them are trauma disorders. Like some of it is just, you know, genetic, but sometimes it's trauma. Like you can develop narcissistic personality disorder as a response to early childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And they didn't ask to be that way, so they don't deserve to be stigmatized that way. Like autistic people can be abusive, but we don't hear things like autistic abuse.
Yeah.
Like it's just something that I think that the autism community as a whole needs to be more aware of, because
Yeah.
narcissistic people are neurodivergent as well, and they deserve to feel safe in the neurodivergent community.
Yeah. That's a good saying. I think a lot of the autistic community is generally I mean, you talk about it a lot that they're, you know, infantilized and stuff.
Infantilized, yeah.
Yeah. I can't say that word.
It's
Infantilized.
okay.
Right. I think that happens a lot. And then also, I do think that there's also like, there's some, because I remember like there was one kid in the special ed class at our school who was an asshole. But like he would never get in trouble for it. And then like he grew up and he's in jail now because he was an asshole. But
Sometimes you're an asshole to the wrong person. That's why I tell people
yeah,
to hold autistic people accountable for our behavior, because if we don't learn early on to hold ourselves accountable and what accountability looks like, we'll never do it when we're adults.
yeah, that's a good saying. So let's talk about your movie.
My
Um,
movie. I haven't talked
it
about that in a
was,
hot minute.
yeah, you did a really good job with the writing in it. Did you
Thank
write it
you.
all yourself?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you had really good dialogue. The
Thank
only
you.
problem that I had with the movie was that you went in the movie, your character
Mhm.
met that guy that night for the first time, and then you went alone with him at night to a park. I
Mhm.
was like the whole time. I get why you did it story wise, but like the whole time I was like, please God, don't do that in real life. Please don't go to a park with a strange man in the middle of the night.
So, there's actually, uh, because I'm hoping I've written a pilot version of that because I really hope to turn it into a series. There's actually that particular thing is addressed, and they
That's
wind up not going to the park because Rachel gets too freaked out.
that's good. And then you actually did a really good job with. I don't mean that in like a condescending way. I mean
No, I know.
this is just the way that I talk. You did a really good job with the explanations because during the thing as I was watching it when you were overstimulated and he was, you know, he gave you a hug from behind. I
Mhm.
like in the moment of watching that I was like, how the fuck does this guy know how to do this? and then you actually explained that, and I liked that. That was a really good work.
Yeah. If I were to do it again, I would have him ask her for consent first.
Mhm.
Because you shouldn't restrain an autistic person that you just met. You have to ask them for consent. That might work for me, like, which is why I wrote it the way that I
Mhm.
did, because that is the only way that I can be calmed in an autistic meltdown, is to be hugged very tightly. I am a
Yeah,
deep pressure autistic, which is why I'm trying to get a service dog to do deep pressure for me. Um,
I
but
love service dogs.
I want to get a service dog. I'm trying. That is my goal, is to get a service dog this year. Um,
They are
but
great.
right.
Yeah, and
Um,
then I guess it would be the one who like jumps up and hugs you whenever you start having a meltdown.
I would lay down and the dog would just lay on top of me, is what I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
that's good. My dog does
Um,
that. She's not trained though, but she's just really clingy.
I love that. But if I were to do things differently, I would have him ask her for consent first before doing that. Like that scene, like I mentioned before, I'm writing a pilot of for S.imple D.ate so that I can hopefully sell it. And in the pilot, that doesn't happen. That whole scene is not
Yeah,
there. She will eventually have a meltdown that he sees, but we'll lead up to that.
yeah, yeah. It did move a little fast, but does
It's a
that
short film.
actually? Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. But it was fantastic. I saw some of your other stuff too, and
Oh, thank you.
your one thing. I couldn't find the other thing that's on your IMDb. Couldn't find it.
Oh, that one friend?
Yeah, could not
That
find
has
it.
its own. That's because the series name is really stupid, and I've renamed it. I'm reworking that one with a different cast member.
Your other one where it was I'm guessing you were in college during it. Um,
Oh
and
no! Please don't tell me it was the Matadors.
yeah,
Damn
it
it!
was. And I was like, oh god,
That was a
you did a
yeah.
good job. Little overacting, little bit
It
overacting,
was a
but
college final, and it was intentionally overacted because we were
yeah,
going for like the '90s after school movie vibes. You know what I mean? Which is why we're all decked out in denim and scrunchies, because we were trying to do those bad after school specials.
well, you guys succeeded. It was great.
Thank you.
It was funny, not in like a purposeful way, I don't think, but it was funny. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it was just a college. It was not something intended. Excuse you, sir?
Cue the cat.
No, dog. Ghost just
Oh,
decided that he needs to be in here, and he opened my door.
it's good.
Ghost, say
My dog
hi.
has tried to open the door 4 times.
This is Ghost.
Oh, hey, Ghost. What are you, a poodle?
Yes,
Chocolate
he is.
poodle?
Standard American poodle. I don't think
Poodles are
he
very
thought I was in
clingy.
here.
I like that.
They are. Like if
Oh,
poodles, I always tell my dad that not giving them constant attention is poodle abuse.
yeah. Labradoodles are super neurotic. They like stare at you all the time like they owe you money. Funny.
But yeah, so the
Oh yeah.
Matadors thing was a college project. It was just a final for our health and wellness class, because one of the things that we had been assigned to talk about was gender and sexuality.
Did you get an A?
We did.
Oh, nice. I don't know if it deserved that, but I'm just kidding.
Listen,
So,
listen.
so you also do stand up, right?
Yes, I do.
Do you do that often, or
When I'm in LA, I
I've only ever
try and
seen
do
one of
open
your
mics. I try to do open mics in LA as much
Yeah.
as I can. I just recently started getting back into stand up, like back in February, because I was doing it before the pandemic. Not well, but I was doing it, and then I started trying to get back into it. And Ghost, why do you need so much attention?
No one does it well
Um,
in the first time.
yeah, no one does it well. It's a little scary, and it's something that I don't like. That
Poodle.
I think I both have like a little bit of a natural knack for it, but I overthink too much, because like I've had people tell me that I'm funny, but I don't know how to trust that I'm funny. And that's the biggest thing that most people struggle with in stand-up.
Yeah, except for people who are really into themselves and
men.
Yeah, I mean it's always men. I did meet one girl one time who was like that, and she didn't have any friends, and I was like, oh, she's kind of a shitty person. And then I was like, maybe it's because she doesn't have any friends. So like I tried to be friends with her, and then I was like, oh no, you're just a shitty person. Like, and you don't have any friends because you're a shitty person, and that's hard to learn.
It is.
And the benefit of the doubt, but then like, because like I always think about myself like not in a narcissistic way, but like, you know, sometimes people meet me and there's and then sometimes people meet me and I'm sure like on a bad day they're like, wow, that guy's a fucking asshole, and then I'm just like, I just want to tell them like, no, I'm just having a bad day. I'm sorry. So I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but
I can't tell you how many times people have said that to me.
Yeah. I cut a guy off today by accident because I didn't see him, and I wanted to follow him home and be like, I'm so sorry, I did not see you. But then I was like, that would be super creepy.
That would be weird.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I just wanted to like, I wish I had like a little like reader on my car that like just said like, I am so sorry, I feel shame, and I will feel terrible about this for the rest of the day. Please forgive me. Just like a little like ticker tape thing.
So much easier.
That would. I wish that people were like more. Like, I wish
maybe you just get a bumper sticker that says, if I cut you off, I'm so sorry. Please know I feel bad and I will feel bad for the rest of the day.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little wordy, but.
Yeah, but so would the apology be.
True. And then if you just shorten it to like, I'm sorry, then you just look like an asshole.
Exactly.
You're just cutting people off like, I'm sorry. Anything that you want to like plug or anything like that?
Plug my YouTube channel, Ribera Bun Bun on YouTube. I was working on a script until the writer's strike happened. I mean, I'm not a part of the WGA, but I've been like trying to show solidarity.
Yeah.
And I was trying to work on selling a script about about an autistic sister and her younger sister who is not autistic, and kind of like a reverse of all the autism stories that we see where like the non-autistic person has to be a caregiver. This time the autistic person becomes the caregiver.
Is that something that you deal with in real life?
Yeah, because it's called Big Sister at the moment. And it's based off of my relationships with my sisters, because I have a younger sister, but I've never felt like the big sister because I have to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And so it was really supposed to be exploring that feeling of like somehow feeling like you're behind the people that you're supposed to be ahead of. And
oh yeah, no, I get that. That's my sister's like super successful and put together, and I'm just like a mess 90% of the time.
Same. Like all my sisters are married. Like I tell my older sister Katie, like all of my sisters are married. They are in long-term relationships with the loves of their lives, and I'm just like, hey, I think I'm broken. Like I think there is something broke about me because love is not it for me.
Yeah. And then oh yeah, no, I feel that way all the time. Especially my sister's like, oh yeah, I met this guy and I love him, and then 7 years later they get married and they're living happily ever after. And then there's like me who's like, oh yeah, I get nervous whenever I go on a dating website. I get a little panic attack. And my sister's like, you got to put yourself out there. I'm like, I don't want to, but like I also don't want to be alone.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. And like I said, there's an acceptable level that people are allowed to like me. If they like me more than I like them, then I'm just like, I gotta run. I'm out. Nope, we're not doing this.
So anyone who dates Rebecca in the future, if you're watching, just play it cool, okay?
Yeah,
she doesn't want you to like her that much.
I don't.
Just figure out how much she likes you, and then if she starts getting creepy, then you can start getting creepy.
No, don't do that, because then I'm gonna be like, wait, you like me? There's something wrong with you. You have bad taste.
I think you're pretty cool. I mean, please don't hate me, but
it's just a joke.
Your content's really good.
Thank you.
I like the message that you're putting out.
Thank you.
Your day job's fucking awesome.
Thank
and
you.
you're a badass. That was
Thank
one
you.
of the reasons I wanted
I do
to.
have these badass muscles.
No shit.
I just
Oh,
one of the things that I did, like that I bought on my little spending spree last night, because like I said, I got paid from stuff that I made. Or was uh I bought boxing gloves and a punching bag so that I
punching bag.
can, yeah, because I take Krav Maga twice a week.
That's
So
cool. So you're gonna be Batman?
no, not Batman, because Batman's a fascist.
I think that he's just a really depressed guy who did not get therapy. Instead, he just went across the world. I think it's all Alfred's fault, honestly. He
Yeah,
should have just been
fuck
like,
Alfred.
"You're going to a child psychiatrist," and he was like, "No, I want to go learn how to fight in all across Asia." And he's like, "All right, 10-year-old boy, let's go."
I just I started taking Krav Maga because we lost our self-defense instructor for the nonprofit, and I've always wanted to learn martial arts. It's been on my bucket list for years upon years upon years. So I was like, you know what? I'm Jewish, might as well learn the fighting style of my people. And so I've been taking Krav Maga for like 2-3 weeks now.
That's good.
And I'm really enjoying it, and I'm hoping to be like muscular and badass soon. My goal is to have a six-pack by my 30th birthday. My 29th birthday just passed, so I have like a little less than a
Happy
year.
birthday.
Thank you. Um, whether that six-pack is of Diet Coke or on my abs is yet to be seen.
I mean, either one is a win,
Yeah,
honestly. I mean, especially if you love Diet Coke.
I do. I'm an addict. I'm down to one Diet Coke every other day though, so I'm very proud of myself
Wow,
for that.
that's not bad.
Diet
Yeah,
Coke
ever
is a
since
very hard addiction to kick.
I know my mom was addicted to Diet Coke for the longest time.
It's the
It
worst.
tore our family apart. It did.
Is there any other
Uh,
questions that you had?
no, I mean, I had a really good time. Hopefully, we can do this again someday.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
Thank you for watching Small Obtainable Goals. I'm Sean, and if you like what you watch, maybe leave a like, a comment, maybe even subscribe. I don't know, whatever makes you happy, or don't. If you've been having trouble, you can get help, and all you have to do is reach out to somebody. And if you don't have anyone to reach out to, you can always call 988 if you live in the United States of America. And that is the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And they're 24/7 on. They do English and Spanish, I believe. And I'm sure that they probably can accommodate a lot of other languages because there are so many people helping. And it's a great thing. They will connect you with people in your local area and they will get you the help that you need. So don't give up. Keep working at it. It sucks, but it can get better.